I don't know whether I ever deserved the life I had or the disaster I created myself. I wish I could blame someone else, but the truth is, it was my hands that destroyed everything. My name is Sophie, and I'm the woman who threw away the man who loved me more than his own life. When I first met Elton, it felt like lightning struck inside me. He was strong, protective, and very different from other men, because he had lived through storms before finding me. He was a soldier, someone who understood pain deeply. Maybe that's why he knew how to love deeply too. I was in medical school back then. Blonde hair, big dreams, and a relationship that had no love left. Elton didn't steal me away. I walked to him willingly. 6 months later, we got married. And the following year, I gave birth to twins, my sweet Robbie and my delicate little Masha. Our family was perfect. Our days were peaceful. Our nights were warm. And whenever duty pulled Elton far away, even to Africa, I waited. Faithfully, proudly, because I believed he would always come back to me. He did come back, but not the same. He returned sick, weak, damaged by the water he drank there. Hepatitis left scars inside him that medicine couldn't erase. He tried to hide how much it hurt, but I saw it every day, in his eyes, in his heaviness, in the way he stared at his own body like it betrayed him. He was still strong, just carrying weight he didn't deserve. And maybe I should have held him tighter then, but I didn't. He left the army, started a business repairing instruments, and slowly built a company from nothing. He earned respect without showing off. And me? I became a respected cardiologist. Our life turned comfortable, beautiful house, city apartment, vacations, kids in good school, everything a woman should want. But somewhere, quietly, I changed. Every year, he grew heavier, more tired. I stayed fit and young-looking even after the twins. People praised me. Men stared sometimes. And I noticed their attention. That's where the poison started, when admiration from strangers felt more exciting than love from the man who had bled for me. Then came Gregor.
The businessman.
He was famous in the city, money, influence, reputation of being generous. He came as a patient first, and I helped him recover. He kept bringing flowers. At first, I thought it was gratitude. But women know when a man wants more. I knew it. And still, I didn't stop him. One day, after he left the hospital, Elton came to pick me up. Gregor passed us with flowers in his hands, then suddenly changed direction like he wasn't coming for me. I blushed. Elton noticed. I laughed it off. The first lie, tiny but deadly. A few days later, at dinner, I casually told Elton about a party Gregor was hosting. I tried to sound normal. He just wants to thank me, many important guests will be there. But Elton's eyes had already changed. He warned me, very calmly, if anything more happens, it would be catastrophic for us. He trusted me, and I walked right through that trust. The night of the party, I dressed like a woman who needed to be admired. Dark red dress hugging my body perfectly. I felt powerful, younger, alive. Elton looked handsome too, but he seemed scared. His eyes followed every move I made. He told me we could skip the party, stay home. And I told him we had agreed to go. I should have listened. I should have said yes. But the version of me that loved attention, she took the wheel. When we arrived, even the guard introduced me as Sophie Vires and a guest. My husband, the father of my children, was treated like extra baggage. And instead of defending him, I just pretended I didn't notice. That moment says everything about the woman I had become. Inside, Gregor greeted me like he owned me. He kissed my hand and said I was a miracle worker. Elton shook his hand firmly, almost challenging him. I should have stood closer to my husband. Instead, I excused myself and hurried away, towards Gregor's world of wealth and adoration. That's when Elton began drifting into the background, and I let it happen. Gregor invited me to dance. My heart was pounding, fear, excitement, guilt, twisted together. He whispered things, how beautiful I looked, how he wished this night never ended. His hand rested boldly on my waist, and I didn't push it away. Music slowed down. His face came closer. People watched. and I pretended the world didn't exist. I forgot Elton was there, watching every second. Then Elton came. He tapped Gregor's shoulder, his voice low, controlled. "She's my wife." He asked me to leave with him. And I didn't move. Gregor squeezed my hand, like he won something. Elton's eyes filled with disbelief. For the first time in our marriage, he wasn't the one protecting me. I was the one hurting him. He raised his voice, shaking the entire hall. "You want to sleep with him so badly you're willing to forget about me?" Everyone heard. Music stopped. I felt shame burn through me, but instead of running to him, I begged for the wrong thing. "It's just one night. Please." I said that. Those words killed us. Right there. Right then. Later, he would quote those words back to me while breaking my heart. The guards came for him. Elton fought back, swift, brutal, like a soldier again. 2 guards dropped. Gregor fell next, crying out. People screamed. And I ran to Gregor, telling Elton to stop, to leave, to get out. Yes, I protected the man who tried to steal me, and turned against the man who loved me. Elton stood there, breathing hard, just looking at me, like he didn't know me anymore. He asked once more, "I'm leaving. Are you coming?" I said the filthiest words I've ever spoken. "Get out. I'm disgusted by you." And that was the moment I destroyed my marriage. He walked away. No one stopped him. I didn't stop him. Hours later, when Gregor was taken away by ambulance and the night was over, I crashed. I understood what I had done. My chest hurt like something had died inside. I drove straight to Elton's grandfather's apartment, the one filled with old paintings and memories I used to love. I prayed he would open the door. He did. His eyes were empty. I cried. I begged. I told him I messed up terribly, that I didn't want to lose him. But he asked one question. "Did you know what he planned?" I couldn't lie anymore. I admitted. I knew the outline. I assumed I would refuse at the last moment, but I didn't. I let it go too far. I thought Elton would just enjoy Stella and everything would be fine afterward. How stupid can a woman be? He asked me why I chose a stranger over him. I had no answer. He quietly closed the door. I collapsed on the other side. Next day, he vanished from our home. From our kids. From me. I tried to call. He never picked up. I tried visiting his office. They told me he wasn't there. When I finally saw him again, it was in court for separation paperwork. I signed. My tears didn't change anything. I had no right to ask for anything now. The man who once promised to love me forever didn't even look at me. And I deserved it. Every bit. But destiny wasn't finished with me. The consequences had just begun. I thought the worst had already happened at the party. I thought I had already lost everything that mattered. I didn't know that life was only preparing to punish me harder. Elton stopped coming home after that night. He didn't answer calls. He didn't even want to see the kids. The twins kept asking where Dad was, and I had no answer that didn't stab me in the heart. I would stand in their room long after they fell asleep, staring at their peaceful little faces, knowing I destroyed the family they loved. Days passed with no word from him. I tried visiting the city apartment, but he didn't open the door. Sometimes I could hear movement inside, like he froze every time my footsteps came near. And honestly, I understood why. The person I became scared me too. Work was my only place to breathe, but even there, every corridor reminded me of Gregor, the man who poisoned my marriage. And I was the bigger poison. I allowed it. Then Tuesday came. A man in his 60s walked into Elton's office. Not mine. Not home. His office. Someone told me later. He was a lawyer, representing Gregor. He came to deliver a threat. "Mr. Gregory wants to sue you for the injuries caused last Friday night, but he is willing to overlook it if your wife spends the weekend with him at his estate. Not if I apologized. Not if charges were dropped. No. Only if I gave myself to him again." How do you explain that level of humiliation? Gregor didn't want me because he liked me. He wanted to own me, to show Elton he could take what was his. And Elton? He told the lawyer to go negotiate with his ex-wife.
He called me that. His ex.
Even though the paperwork wasn't final yet. The lawyer left quietly. What argument was there? Later, when I heard what Elton said about me at that moment, my breath stopped in my throat. I realized he wasn't trying to scare me. He was telling the truth. In his mind, I wasn't his wife anymore. He had already buried us. I didn't know what to do. I thought of running to him again, begging, screaming something. But guilt paralyzed me. The next day, another disaster arrived. Gregor's empire was falling. Rumors spread that his mansion had caught fire, caused by a gas leak in the basement. Guards were hurt. His special furniture warehouse burned to ashes. Everything he was planning to ship to his rich clients was gone. The newspaper said, old wiring caused a spark. But I knew Elton too well. A soldier doesn't leave revenge to accidents. That same night, Gregor fled to Thailand, like he was running away from consequences. But karma travels faster than airplanes. At Bangkok airport, customs found illegal pills in his luggage. He was arrested, locked in a detention center awaiting trial. When I read that news, I dropped the paper. I knew Elton's handwriting even when he didn't sign his name. He didn't kill Gregor. He killed his power, his pride, his freedom. He burned down the man who burned our marriage. And the worst part? I felt relieved. But relief came with an even deeper pain, because the man who still protected me would never love me again. I tried calling Elton that night. No answer. Days turned into weeks. My kids kept asking for him, drawing pictures of Daddy returning home. My daughter tucked one under my pillow one night. "Don't cry, Mama," she whispered, touching my face. "Daddy will come. He always comes." But this time he wasn't coming, because I chased him away with my own hands. I lost weight. I lost sleep. Hospital coworkers noticed my trembling hands during checkups. A senior doctor gently pulled me aside. "Take a break, Sophie. Your eyes look like someone stole your soul." She wasn't wrong. Our big countryside house, the one we built with so much joy, now felt like a museum of guilt. Every room had a memory stabbing me. The kitchen where he used to hug me from behind. The garden where the kids played while we drank coffee and dreamed of growing old together. And the bed where I forgot the meaning of loyalty for one stupid night. Even that night, I didn't actually sleep with Gregor. But sometimes betrayal isn't physical. It's in the choice you make. And I chose wrong. One evening, I slipped into Elton's favorite shirt, the one he wore on vacations, sun-warmed and familiar. I buried my face inside it and cried until my throat ached. But the shirt no longer smelled like him. It smelled like dust, like something gone too long. I kept replaying the moment at the party when he asked me to come with him. Why didn't I go? Why did I stand beside a man who knew nothing about my heart, when the man who was my heart begged me to stay? Women always talk about fear of losing their men. I never imagined I would be the one pushing mine off the cliff. Kids eventually noticed Dad's absence wasn't temporary. One day Robbie came home angry. Someone at school said his parents were getting divorced because his mom had many boyfriends. I didn't know who started that rumor, but it wasn't wrong for long. Kids are perceptive. They see cracks faster than adults. Masha stopped speaking much. She began sleeping in my bed, clinging to my arm like she feared I'd disappear too. I wanted to promise her that I never would, but I already broke a bigger promise. The silence between me and Elton became a wall thicker than any misunderstanding we ever faced. One afternoon, when I was finishing clinic hours, Mark, an older colleague, sat beside me in the staff room. "You look exhausted," he said softly. "If you need help, talk to someone." His kindness made me cry right there in my white coat. I hated that the world still had kind men. I didn't deserve them. I kept driving to Elton's other apartment, hoping one day he'd open the door. One day he finally did. He stepped out, walked past me, locked the door behind him without speaking a single word. He didn't even glance at me. Silence is the cruelest rejection. I realized then he didn't hate me. I wasn't important enough to hate anymore. News said Gregor would face a serious trial abroad. People whispered his career was finished. His name was now dirt. The mighty man who once walked into my office holding expensive flowers now waited for court in a foreign jail. And Elton? He made a large donation to the Wild Geese Special Forces Veterans Club quietly. No announcements. No bragging. That's how I knew his revenge wasn't greed. It was justice. The kind only a soldier understands. Maybe I should have felt angry at him for what he did. Instead, I felt grateful. He didn't hurt me physically. He didn't take the kids away. He didn't destroy my job or my reputation. He just removed himself. And that was the deepest punishment. Some nights, I drive near his apartment and sit in my car for hours, hoping to see a light flicker inside. Sometimes I imagine he is standing behind the curtains, watching, refusing to let me see him anymore. I still wear my wedding ring. He doesn't. Every morning, when I wake, the first thought isn't that I lost him. It's that I chose to lose him. The guilt doesn't fade with time. It sharpens. And yet, a tiny piece of my heart still believes that one day, he'll let me explain, not to excuse my mistakes, but to tell him I never stopped loving him. Not for 1 second. Even when I was at my worst. But love isn't enough when respect is dead. He deserved a woman who fought for him. I became the woman who fought against him. He once said, if anything more happens, it would be catastrophic for us. He was right, and I set the explosion with my own words. I don't know if we are officially divorced on paper yet. Process takes time, but I already feel like a widow. Because the man I married died the moment I said, I'm disgusted by you. There are sentences people regret for years. Mine will haunt me for life. The story isn't finished, though. Not for me. I'm still breathing in the damage I created. I'm still paying for the night I chased applause instead of holding on to love. And every time the kids ask, when will Daddy come home? I feel hell burn inside me. This is my punishment. I know there's more pain waiting, because consequences don't end so easily. And I haven't suffered enough yet. People think the worst punishment for betrayal is getting cheated back, or dumped, or insulted. They are wrong. The worst punishment is being ignored by the person you would die to be noticed by. Months passed. The leaves changed. Seasons shifted. But nothing moved inside Elton. He lived in his city apartment like a ghost, made of walls. The only proof of his breathing existence was occasional payments for the kids' school and groceries, handled through bank transfers. No messages attached. No warm reminders. Just numbers. Cold.
Silent.
Final. I tried to keep everything normal for the twins, even when nothing was normal anymore. I made their lunches, helped with homework, forced smiles at school gates, and when they slept, I broke. Nights were a battlefield. Pillows soaked. Heart choking. Regret never letting me breathe enough to live again. Sometimes the twins would draw pictures. Our family together, holding hands. They would slide them under Elton's locked office door whenever I dared to bring them there. He never opened. The drawings remained untouched until I quietly picked them up again, pretending they had been accepted. I didn't want my children to experience the cold I had earned. They didn't deserve even a drop of my mistakes. Work didn't heal me either. Every patient reminded me of loyalty, trust, heartbeat. I treated damaged hearts every day while mine bled behind my white coat. Some faces even glanced at me with curiosity. Gossip travels faster than disease. Everyone knew what happened at Gregor's party. Everyone knew I was the doctor who chose fame over love. I learned to walk past whispers like they were bullets I deserved. Gregor's trial abroad kept appearing in news. People whispered that his downfall was no accident. They said someone powerful had done it. Someone trained. Someone with connections. They had no proof, but I did. And yet, I never spoke a word. Because Elton didn't just avenge himself. He avenged us. The family Gregor tried to destroy. The family I destroyed first. I wanted to thank him. I wanted to apologize again. But what do you say to a man whose heart you stabbed? Thank you for burning down the man I humiliated you for? There are no words for that. One weekend, I took the kids to the countryside house. The one Elton built with his own hands. The walls still felt like him. The garden still remembered his laughter. The fireplace still waited for his warmth. The kids kept running to every room calling Daddy, while I stood frozen, nails digging into my palms so I wouldn't cry again. That night, Robbie crawled into my lap and asked so softly, "Mama, do you think Daddy still loves us?" I swallowed the lump that wanted to kill me and nodded.
Yes.
Daddy loves you more than anything in this world. He hesitated before asking the next question. But do you think Daddy still loves you? That one broke the last piece of me. I wanted to lie, but I couldn't. So I whispered, "I hope one day he can love me again." Robbie looked at me with innocent confusion. Why did he stop? There are questions a mother should never have to answer. But children see truth faster than any adult. I told him the simplest version. I made a mistake. A very big one. He pressed his small hand on my cheek like he wanted to hold me together. Mama, everyone makes mistakes. If only forgiveness were that easy. Days later, I received a letter. The envelope had Elton's handwriting. My heart sprinted painfully inside my chest. I sat in my car outside the hospital and opened it with shaking fingers. It wasn't a love letter. It wasn't hate either. It was divorce papers. No note. No accusation. No goodbye. Just a signature line already filled with his name. The final nail in the coffin. I stared at my own blank space, ink refusing to spill. Signing meant accepting our end. And even though I already lost him, putting pen to paper meant accepting I could never get him back. I signed. Because love isn't something you chain to yourself when you're the one who murdered it. I cried so hard on the steering wheel that a stranger knocked on my window asking if I needed help. I just shook my head. He walked away, leaving me with the ruins that only I understood. But life didn't stop. It never does. Bills came. Kids needed lunches. Work demanded energy. I learned to wear makeup that hid sleepless nights. I smiled even when my soul was dust. My body kept functioning, but my heart stayed burned in that party hall where I chose the wrong man. Even after divorce, I couldn't stop loving Elton. I don't think I ever will, because some people are our forever, even if we are just a chapter they'd rather forget. One evening, I stood outside Elton's apartment building again. Not knocking, just staring up like a fool waiting for a miracle. I saw a flicker of light from his window. Maybe he passed by. Maybe he saw me. Maybe he didn't. And even if he did, why would he open the door to the woman who threw him away? So I whispered to the dark sky, "I'm sorry. I will always be sorry." No one answered. News eventually said Gregor's entire business was declared bankrupt after the fire. He would spend years fighting legal trouble, maybe even prison. All his connections abandoned him. The mighty lion of the city, now nothing, but a disgraced memory. I never celebrated his fall. I also never mourned it. I only wondered if he knew that the woman he tried to possess went home to cry over the husband who destroyed him. But Elton never gloated. He didn't brag about what he did. Instead, he quietly donated money to the Special Forces Veterans Club he had always been part of, helping the men who once stood beside him in war. He kept that a secret too. That's who he is. A man who destroys monsters not out of ego, but justice. Sometimes, I ask myself why I didn't see his worth sooner. Why I needed to lose him to understand his love. Why the strongest love stories are often the ones we ruin ourselves. People ask me if I am healed now. I laugh. There is no healing from the mistake of breaking your own home. There are days I still dress up in that same red dress, the one I wore the night everything died. I stare at myself in the mirror and force myself to remember the woman who destroyed my life. I don't let myself forget her, because forgetting means repeating. I am not waiting for Elton anymore. I know he moved on. Maybe one day he will love someone who truly deserves him. And she will never know how lucky she is to be loved by a man like him. As for me, I'll always carry my punishment silently. I still wear my wedding ring hidden inside a drawer, not on my finger, just close enough to remind me who I used to be. Some nights, I hold it in my palm and whisper, "I loved you. I still love you. I will love you even when I no longer have the right to." That's my truth. Not the glamorous life Gregor offered. Not the admiration I craved. Just this simple, painful truth. I lost my forever, and I have to live with that. Elton once told me not to worry, that nothing bad would happen that night. He didn't know he was the one who would be broken. Now, the kids are growing, and when they ask about love, I tell them, love someone so fiercely that betrayal can never fit in your heart. Because I want them to be like him, not like me. I look at our old photos sometimes, the smiles, the trips, the memories. They hurt, but they're also the only treasure I have left. Proof that once, someone loved me more than the world. Proof that I wasn't always this ghost of a woman. My heart will always belong to Elton, even if his heart learned to forget me. I hope someday he finds happiness. I hope someday I find forgiveness. But even if neither happens, I will never run from what I did. I will never pretend I was the victim. I was the storm, and he walked through it until there was nothing left of us. Now, all that remains is silence, and memory, and a love that died in the darkness of one terrible night. This is my story, my confession, my heartbreak, and I accept every consequence of it. Because when you betray the one person who would burn the world for you, you spend the rest of your life learning how to live inside the ashes.